ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So yeah, apologies. I have a little bit of cough and cold, but I think yeah, I'm getting better. So I think this session should go smoothly. So we'll start with today's words, today's topic, and the words on Bhagavad Gita 6.17. So this is one of the very important verses because it talks about regulation. So let us recite the words. Let's recite the words together. युक्ताहार विहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगः भवति दुःखः. So let us read the translation. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. The purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, which are the demands of the body, can block advancement in the practice of yoga. As far as eating is concerned, it can be regulated only when one is practiced to take and accept prasadam, sanctified food. Lord Krishna is offered, according to Bhagavad Gita 9.26, vegetables, flowers, fruits, grains, and milk. So this refers to another famous verse, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachasi. So this refers to what Krishna takes. This verse, yeah. So let's continue. In this way, a person in Krishna consciousness becomes automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption or not in the category of goodness. As far as sleeping is concerned, a Krishna conscious person is always alert in the discharge of his duties in Krishna consciousness. And therefore, any unnecessary time spent in sleeping is considered great loss. Avyartha kalutvam. This means any time considered sleeping or wasting is considered as a great loss. So a Krishna conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his life without being engaged in the service of Lord. Therefore, his sleeping is kept to a minimum. His ideal in this respect is Srila Rupa Goswami, who was always engaged in the service of Krishna and who could not sleep for more than 2 hours a day. So Rupa Goswami lived almost 500 years ago, and he was always engaged in the service of Krishna, who, and sometimes not even that. Thakur Haridas, he was also contemporary of Rupa Goswami, would not even accept prasadam nor even sleep for a moment without finishing his daily routine of chanting with his beats 300,000 names. As far as work is concerned, a Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not connected with Krishna's interest. And thus, his work is always regulated and is untainted by sense gratification. Since there is no question of sense gratification, there is no material leisure for Krishna consciousness. And because he is regulated in all his work, speech, sleep, wakefulness, and all bodily activities, there is no material misery for him. So I'll be switching to presentation. So can you see the presentation now? You should see the PPT screen now. Is it visible?
Yes, it's visible, bro.
Okay, yeah. So before addressing regulation, I want to address what is yoga. And then we'll come to the topic of regulation. Okay, so what is yoga? So one might think yoga is some sort of gymnastic exercises which are very healthy for the body, and that is true. In fact, on I think July 21st, we have something called as International Yoga Day. So where thousands of people all over the world do yogasanas. So this is like yoga. But yoga is not just limited to that. Yoga also means, yoga also has a different meaning. Yoga means connection to the Lord. So yoga means connection. So, and connection to what? Connection to the Lord. So, and because Bhagavad Gita talks about yoga, it mainly talks about connection to the Lord. And if you focus on this, yeah, during the time of Kurukshetra battle in the war, Krishna was not focusing on the gymnastic exercises. The focus he was describing was connection to the Lord. So this is in yoga. So how does yoga help us? So all scriptures they talk about getting rid of the material cycle of birth and death. So how can one do that? One can do that when one has no material desires. So when one has no material desires, he can get rid of this cycle of birth and death. But the problem with this is, how can one be desireless? See, I am hungry. I desire to eat something palatable. If I'm thirsty, I desire to drink water. I have a lot of desires, and it's natural to have a lot of desires. Nothing wrong with that. However, here to get rid of cycle of birth and death, we need to be desireless. So the reason why we can be desireless is when we are connected to the Supreme Lord. At that point, we will be fully satisfied. And once we are satisfied, at that time, we can be desireless. And this Bhagavad Gita, the yoga, teaches us how to connect with the Supreme Lord. So now coming to our words on regulation. So here you can see multiple yuktas. So what does this yukta mean? In this case, yukta has two meaning. And the first meaning corresponds to regulation. So what should we regulate? That is told in the subsequent words near yukta. So yukta ahara, vihara, karmasu, and swapnava bodhasya. Let's see what that means. Ahara means eating has to be regulated. Vihara means recreation. It also has to be regulated. Karmasu, whatever endeavor, our jobs, whatever actions we do, that has to be regulated. And swapnava bodhasya. So this refers to sleeping, both in the state of dreamless sleep and dreamful sleep. For this discussion, we can just take it as sleeping. So why should we do all these regulations? It is described in the last word. Yogo bhavati dukkha. So you can see the last word ha. Just a minute, I'll change it to pointer. Just give me a minute. Yeah, so you can see last word ha over here. This refers to diminishing. So yoga will help in mitigating or diminishing the miseries of the life. So now we have four of them, no? Eating, recreation. All these four, let's explore each of them. Before that, let's see what exactly is regulation. So for this, I would like to give an analogy. So suppose you want to travel in a car from say Hyderabad to Bangalore. So the purpose of a travel in the car is to reach Bangalore. If you're traveling from Hyderabad to go to Bangalore, the purpose is to reach Bangalore. So that should be our main focus. At the same time, we need to have a functioning car. It should not that the car is spoiled or if then we won't be able to travel. But the car is not the end goal. The end goal is to reach Bangalore. So our focus should be on the goal. At that time, do the needful for the car. So similarly, in the process of yoga, our destination is to do get connected to the God, which is different from the body and mind. But at the same time, body and mind, they're the vehicles. And we need to do the needful so that we can be happily connected to the God. And how do we do that? That is by regulation. So, yeah, some practical examples I would like to give. So, what is regulation? Regulation is listening to the body's needs and not mind's greed. I'll give an example for eating because that's very easy for us to understand. So, when body is hungry, how do you know? Is it like we body is actually hungry, or is it our mind's craving for some food? It is little difficult to understand. So when body is hungry, it generally like wants the healthy and timely diet. You contrasting it to when the mind is craving, so it is very particularly selective. Like, okay, I want samosa only, and I want to eat at midnight, or I want too much food. So this indicates the mind is craving. So this is how we can differentiate between body is hungry and mind is craving. So what I'm saying is not that you should not eat samosas. Of course, you can have samosas, you can have delicious food, but it should not be excessive or it should not be untimely. So this is one way to identify when the body is hungry or it is mind's greed. So yeah, some practical tips would be like when we feel hungry, we shouldn't grab the food immediately. Instead, take some few breath or chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra or read Bhagavad Gita. Then we can get clarity. That way we can understand whether it's body's needs or is it mind's greed. So whenever we go to extremes, that is not regulated. That is called as unregulated lifestyle. So eating. So regulated eating does not mean just eating broccolis as shown here. I mean, you can eat the food which are tasty as well as healthy. And you can eat the food also which are not tasty but in limited quantities, not too much excess. So that is the point what I wanted to convey about regulated eating. Now regulated recreation. So yes. So whenever we on the path of yoga, there is we have body, we have mind, we have our desires, and all those things need to be addressed. However, it should be done in a regulated manner. And yeah, so this talks about it's very important to take breaks in recreation. Otherwise, if you don't take break, the life will break you. So you need to do something that is very relaxing. At the same time, it should be spiritually uplifting. For example, yeah, you can sing kirtans. Many people like sing kirtans, hear kirtans, going to holy places. It is like a vacation. At the same time, it's spiritually uplifting. Those who are intellectual, reading Bhagavad Gita, hearing the pastimes of the Lord, like the stories, activities of the Lord, discussing spiritual subject matters with the friend. These are examples for recreation. So this recreation not only gives us fulfills the desires of the mind to some extent, it also uplifts us spiritually. Next comes to sleeping. So sleeping, we should take it as a means to rest and rejuvenate. Like we should not be, oh, I get to sleep, I'll sleep for 10 hours. No, no, that is not regulated sleeping. Of course, when you are sick, we can sleep more than what is required. But as a general rule, maybe 6 to 7 hours is the ideal time to sleep for someone who is between the age of 15 to say 50, 60, something like that. So we have to be regulated to sleep, and it should be sleep also should be timely. So it is said that ideally if you have to sleep at 9, so any sleep between 9 to 12 is considered in Ayurveda, it gives 2 times that of effect. And any sleep from 12 to 3, it gives one time effect. And any sleep from 3 to 6, it gives half the effect. So as early you sleep, the better it is. So both timely and excessive. At the same time, you shouldn't sleep too less also. Like some people for their careers and all, they actually sleep just 4 5 hours. They sleep like 20 hours a week, which is very less and which is not ideal also. So now coming to the regulation in endeavors, which is job. So by the way, if you want to ask anything, you always feel free to use the chat. I will address them. Yeah. So endeavors jobs. So obviously we need to earn livelihood in this world, and for that we need jobs. But we can actually be regulated in that as well. We should not have too much excessive endeavors. Like for example, working more than 15, 16 hours. At the same time, we should not work too less also. When we are taking some job, when we are getting paid, we have a responsibility to the employer. And we should ensure that whatever he expects, as long as it's reasonable, we should get it done. So, like, yeah, it is best if we work in a sector which aligns with both material and spiritual life that can elevate people to the society. So, this is little difficult in this age. However, if you see, like Amal said, he's writing all the art of concentration book, time management book, and that is actually uplifting the society. He's also informing about spiritual. So, in both ways, material and spiritual ways, it elevates the people in the society. So if we can do that, that's ideal. However, in this age, it is very difficult to do so. Okay, so now I have explained what is regulation. So next question is, why should we be regulated? So for this, I would like to read out the statement. Pursuit of yoga requires us to find the balance between self we are eternally and the self we are presently. So let's dissect what this means. What do you mean, which is self we are eternally? Self we are eternally refers to our soul, the soul which wants to get connected to the God. So the soul which get wants to get connected to God also has needs, and self we are presently. That is our body, mind. So this we have gross body, then we have mind, we have intelligence, we have ego. So this body also has needs. Like body has hunger, mind wants something entertaining. It wants to listen to like beautiful music, or like our ears want to listen to beautiful music, our mind wants some enjoyment, all those things. So this we have to find a balance, so that is regulation. So we cannot neglect both of them. We cannot neglect our soul, we cannot neglect our body as well. So what we have to do then we have to, how do we find the balance? Whatever self we are presently, that is our body and mind, it should be channelized for realizing self we are eternally. That is, we have connection with Krishna, or we have connection with God. And that connection we have to happens when we realize we love God and we want to serve him. So this I think other devotees already might have explained, and it will be explained in future also. So by regulation, we can fulfill both the needs, the self we are eternally and self we are presently. So now let's find out what are the benefits of regulation. So having regulated lifestyle, if you're eating at time, if you're not eating junk foods, if you're eating healthy foods, that is regulated lifestyle. And it also helps us to have more control of our life. So when we are healthy, we can do more activities. We won't be like, if we are sick, we'll be stuck in the bed. We can't do much. So this is like major benefits of regulation. So this is, I'm talking in material life. The main benefit is it helps us not to be deviated from the path of yoga. So path of yoga, in path with connection to God, if we are so much absorbed in eating, if we are taking too much time in sleeping, so when we'll have time for our spiritual activities like chanting, reading scriptures? So if we are regulated, we'll get a lot of time, and this time can be used in yoga process. So another benefit is this will help in mitigating miseries. So now you might ask a question. So how exactly like regulation will help us in mitigating miseries? The answer is regulation won't. There's a typo here. It's not recreation. It's supposed to be regulation. The regulation won't help us in mitigating miseries completely. Some miseries definitely it will address, but some things it does not mitigate. For example, birth, old age, disease, death, those things it cannot mitigate. But the process of yoga definitely helps in mitigating miseries. So this is about yoga. And yoga is the one which mitigates miseries. So now there's another meaning of word yukta. Remember I said first word of yukta means connection. Sorry, regulation. Another meaning is it's a connection with Supreme Personality of Godhead. So let's see what exactly this connection means. For example, eating. So what does this eating, how can we connect it with the God? Can someone would like to type this in the chat? How can we connect eating with the God? Okay, I think I'm not getting any responses. Okay, so eating we can connect it good. Yeah, I got the response from, yeah, many devotees. Yes, by offering prasadam. So by offering food to the Lord, it becomes prasadam. We can do recreation like hearing kirtans, reading spiritual books. That is recreation, which again connects with the God. And sleeping. The only purpose if we are sleeping is to get rest and rejuvenate so that we can do more spiritual activities and endeavors. We can do all the actions in connection with the Lord. So this refers to the yukta, which means connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if you have any questions, you can ask me now, or you can also ask, send it in the group, and I will answer it. So yeah. So if there are no sessions, we can end it in this session, and yeah, we can discuss what. Please share whatever you liked in the WhatsApp group.
Hare, Hare Krishna
So is
Prabhuji.
there? Yes.
Uh,
Hare Krishna
could
Mataji.
you
Please tell me. Yes.
could you tell what are, because I couldn't listen first off. So from starting, and you tell that what and all you
Yes.
have told. In short, today what and all we discussed.
Yeah, so what is regulation, is it? Yeah, initially I explained what is yoga. Yoga, it just does not refer to gymnastic exercise. Of course, gymnastic exercises like yoga asana, pranayama, and other asanas, they are part of yoga. But the main yoga is connection with the Lord. Then yeah, we discussed what is yukta in this verse. Yukta means it has two meanings. One is regulation, and second one is connection. And what should be regulated? We should be regulated in eating, recreation, endeavor, and sleeping. So why should we be regulated? Because if we are regulated, we can do the yoga process without any difficulty. And what happens if we do the yoga process? Will be free from all these sufferings. Dukkha. Dukkha means free from sufferings. So then we discussed what exactly, like, why do we need regulation? Like, our goal is to go to, let's say, from Hyderabad to Bangalore. So we need a car for that. So a goal is to reach Bangalore, but we need a good car. At the same time, all focus should not be on the car. So yeah, so till where should I explain? I think very there here, or shall I explain this briefly?
Yes, Prabhuji. Till here. After that, I listened.
Yeah, so
I
here,
understood.
yeah. So regulation means it is we have to listen to our body's needs and not mind's greed. So this is one way to identify what exactly regulation means. So when we are hungry, when our body is actually genuinely hungry, we would like any food. We won't be very particularly selective. I like only samosas. I like only pizzas. And at the same time, when it's hungry, it won't ask excessive. And usually it will be time. So if I eat breakfast at 9 a.m., I won't feel hungry at 9:30. So yeah, so this is about regulation. By the way, this thing will be shared in the YouTube group also. I think, sorry, in WhatsApp channel, the YouTube link will be shared, so you can see there. Yes. So yeah, I think you are there here. Yes.
Yes,
Thank you, everyone.
Prabhuji.